Hi, I'm Tyson.
I'm Colin.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Adam.
And we're the Gamesmiths, and we're here to learn Travesty. Ryan's going to teach us the rules.
All right, so Travesty. For 3 to 4 players, the objective is to expand your kingdom by building up your treasury and army to control the designated amount of provinces to win the game. If you're curious, since we're playing with 4 people, that is 3 provinces you have to control to win the game. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to set out these achievements, which we'll get to in a second. Those are just kind of like standing game achievements, and if you reach that threshold at any point, you can take that achievement, and it is a province. So having it is, it counts to towards your victory total. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to set those out of the deck, and then we can deal 3 cards to each player real quick. It's easy enough to do. I shouldn't have started with myself, but oh well. You can go ahead and pick up your hand. You'll have some action cards, you'll have some soldier cards, and we'll kind of go through those. So each turn, you're going to take 2 cards from the deck. So you're going to draw 2 at the start of your turn. And we're all just going to share this big deck in the middle there. And then you can take up to 2 actions on your turn. And you have a few different actions that you can do. You also, for the record, have a hand limit of 5. So anything over 5, you have to discard down at the end of your turn.
At the end of the turn, okay.
First thing you can do is bank a card into your treasury. So if you have one of these cards, which are soldiers / gold, so they all either have, kind of a face on it or a gold symbol in the corner. Well, they'll all have both. You can take and discard those into your, essentially put it face down into your treasury. And as soon as you do that, you've kind of designated them that they're going to be gold for the game. They're never going to be soldiers. Okay. So these cards can all be soldiers or
but just
gold.
Not revealed to anybody else.
Right. And so you just put it down, and that goes in your treasury. Okay. So that's one of the actions you can take. Remember, you can take up to 2 of these. The second thing is you can activate a soldier. So you activate a soldier from your hand by paying the amount of money from your treasury. So if this was my hand, I've got my vicereine and I've got my lady, and that's 6 and 1, and then I have 4 in my treasury. You're not going to get any change from the treasury. So right now at this point, I could, if I want to activate the lady, I would have to discard this 4 from my hand. I'm just going to lose the other 3 and, put the lady down in front of me as one of my activated soldiers. I'm allowed to attack with one of my soldiers. And we'll go through that later, but essentially you attack an opponent, and everyone, your goal is essentially, well, I'll get to that later. You can attack, and we'll talk about that in a sec. And then you can combine or separate soldiers. So if you have 2 soldiers on the battlefield, you can combine them into 1 soldier of, this would be 1 5-power soldier, essentially. Okay. So you can combine them together.
Could you have activated 2 at a time with the same one if it was big enough? Same amount of gold?
So say I had 7. Could you activate both of those?
No. I do not believe so. I'll double check. But
do you have to make it one person, or you can have 2?
You can have 1 or 2. So you if you have 2 soldiers on the board, you have the option to combine them as an action, or uncombine them if you want to. So you have the option, but it takes 1 action each time. So you can't just do it willy-nilly.
You can only have 2.
You have 2 actions per turn.
So if you combine 1, are you able to put another soldier
You can
down?
have as many as you want.
Oh,
I didn't say
okay.
you could only have 2. I said if you did have 2, you can combine
sure.
them. So you're allowed to have as many as you like. At least as far as that, yeah. Attach or detach power-ups to soldiers. So there are some cards that are power-ups that I thought I had one, but I lost it. You got a sword? Or
I have a
yeah,
Dragon
okay.
Master.
So yep. So the Dragon Master specifically can only be played on a peasant. Other attachments can be played, but you simply just attach the power up to that. The Dragon Master power up allows you to play any dragon from your hand at no cost. Dragons are powerful, rare, unique cards in there. So being able to do that is cool, and it can only be killed by a soldier level 10 or higher. So it can attack itself, but it effectively has a defense of 10 essentially, and it can bring out dragons for you while it's in your hand. Oh, here's one too. Here's a horse. So that's a power up as well of 6. So you can put that on a soldier,
Sure.
and now you have a 6 and a 4, and then you can. There are a few different power ups, and we'll get to that in a second. The last thing you can do is play an ability card like Assassin or Traitor, and they all kind of just do what they say on them. Kill one of your opponent's activated soldiers, take control of an opponent, and we'll get into that. We'll get into those a little bit more. The last thing that you can do
What's this guy? He doesn't say anything. He
Yep.
just hangs out. Oh, okay.
is number 7. And that is play a province card. So this is what you're trying to do. 3 provinces win. You're going to lay out your board. This is kind of a mess. I'll go ahead and scoop it up real quick. You're going to lay out your board like this. Everybody is going to put their soldiers in front. So you'll have a line of your soldiers out front. And then you will have your treasury face down right here. And then you'll have your provinces behind that. And the reason that you do that is because we're going to be fighting our way through each other's armies to get to each other's provinces.
Okay.
So the first thing you do is you attack.
So is this a soldier then, or is this an action?
That's an ability card. So the first thing that you're going to do is you'll fight through your opponent's soldiers, and once all their soldiers are gone, you'll attack their treasury. And when you attack their treasury, they have to pay you in the amount that you're attacking them for. And if they can't, then they just have to give you everything they've got, and their treasury's gone. And I think maybe the province as well. Let me see. So like I said, you can combine 2 soldiers and or attach power-ups to increase their level. So you can only have 2 combined at a time, but it doesn't say anything about having a maximum that you can have out. So soldiers attack. So for an action cost, you target an opponent's soldier, and the weaker one dies. If they're equal, they both die. Let me see here. I want to make sure I explain this right. But when they attack, they will, first your opponents have to attack your army, and then they have to attack your treasury, and then, if you can't, you lose the gold and the province. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
So your provinces, the thing about provinces, you control a province by placing it from your hand by using an action. You may only put 1 province down per turn, and you can only have 1 province in your hand 1 province card in your hand at a time.
And we're playing by end of turn. You have to only
So
have...
is that honor
Yeah.
system, or you discard every turn?
You would have to discard, So if you have 2 provinces in your hand, we're going to say you shuffle 1 of them back into the deck.
Okay.
But we're going to say, if you draw them, you can play 1 to get back down to just 1 in your hand.
Yeah.
But if you happen to have 1 in your hand and draw 2, then you're going to have 3 in your hand, and you're not going to be able to do that. So, but there's a limited number of these in the deck, so I don't want to just discard them. So we just voted to shuffle. We're going to shuffle them back in.
So if you have 2 actions, can you play 2 provinces?
No, only 1 per turn. And then there are the 2 achievement provinces that can be earned as well. And they can be earned at any time. This achievement goes to the, so there's the militant one. This achievement goes to the kingdom with the strongest army. That army must have a total power level of 25 or higher. So as soon as your army down here equals 25 or higher, you just take this, and you keep it as long as you have the highest. But if I stay at 25 and Tyson gets up to 30, then he'll take it from me.
What if you fall below?
It goes back as well, I believe.
It just goes back up here. If someone holding it goes below 25 and no one else is over 25.
Yep.
Okay.
The achievement provinces are only controlled as long as the requirements are met. So the first requirement is you must have the strongest army, and the second requirement is that army must be of at least 25.
Okay.
Same thing goes for this one, except it is treasury. So as soon you play your treasury in secret, but as soon as you have at least 25 or more gold, you can reveal your treasury and take that. And as long as there's at least 25 or more, you keep that.
Okay.
Can those get stolen as
yes.
a province? Okay.
They can get stolen, not
from
by attacking.
Oh, okay.
No. You have to meet the requirements to
Okay.
hold them. But they can be stolen like that. Like you could secretly have 30 gold in your pile, and I could reveal mine at 27 and say, I'm going to take that card, and you can just not say anything until you feel like it, and then say, okay, I've got 30, so I'm going to take that card now, when it's advantageous for you. And then you would flip your treasury up, and mine would go face down. So like I said, the first person that has 3 provinces in play is the winner.
When does that check immediately?
Yeah,
Or
I would
does it
say
have
as
to be
soon as
like
you have.
at the end of a turn, if somebody can do something about it.
I would say as soon as you have 3. Yeah, as soon as you have 3 provinces, you win.
And can you play your defensive cards during somebody else's
Yep.
attack?
Yep. So yeah, that's kind of all you need to know about the provinces, and then like I told you about the soldiers and how they attack. The other thing you can do is do the power-ups like we discussed. You kind of already know everything about that. The ability cards, you can only have one of each type. So there is a horse, a sword, and armor. And so each person can have horse, sword, and armor. You can have 2 swords or 2 horses or 2 armors. So each
On the same person.
right. So each soldier can only have one of each power up on them at a
Plus
time.
a dragon thing?
Dragons can only go on peasants, and
That's
peasants can't have anything else. So they are there as blockers because you still have to fight your way through a peasant before you could get to my treasury. So they can be used as kind of cannon fodder like that, or they can occasionally turn into the Dragon Master. So the Dragon Master is a unique card that you might not see. So it's more likely they'll just be peasants. And then the ability cards that you play as an action during your turn. Some are specified, others. Ability cards with a white title, like Sorcerer here, cannot be stopped by the Royal Guard. So the Royal Guard negates an attack or an ability used against you. So if I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to attack my 10 against Tyson's 7, and Tyson's like, nope, Royal Guard, turn it around. You don't get to make that attack this turn. And then, but there are certain things that can't be. So there's like an assassin card that will allow you to just kill. Here we go. There's an assassin card that will allow you to just kill one of your opponent's soldiers, but the Royal Guard could be used against that because it has red title, and you can just say, nope, sorry, you're not killing my guy. I block it with the Royal Guard.
But it can't be used against what?
White title.
text.
So the sorcerer cannot be stopped by the Royal Guard, but the assassin can be stopped by the Royal Guard. So assassin will let you kill a soldier, an opponent's soldier. Traitor will let you take control of an opponent's soldier with power level 10 or less. Thief will let you steal 1 random card from an opponent's hand. Jester will allow you to force any opponent to skip their next turn. Spy will let you look at or trade hands with an opponent. So you can pick one or the other, look at their hand or trade with them. The Chancellor will draw you 2 cards at no action cost. So when you play, normally like playing the Trader to take control of an opponent's soldier, that's going to cost me 1 action on my turn. There are some that don't cost you an action at all, and they say on there. So like Chancellor, draw 2 cards at no action cost. So that's just essentially draw 2, and you still have 2 actions to play. Treasurer allows you to bank 1 card in your treasury at no action cost. So normally it costs an action to put a treasury in there. You play that card, you play the treasury, you still have 2 actions.
Okay.
And then there's Conqueror. Battle an enemy for their province. Both you and an opponent will reveal an unactivated soldier from your hand, and the person with the highest one takes control of the province. And both soldiers are then discarded. So they both lose both people lose their soldiers after that. If an opponent doesn't have a soldier in hand, you automatically win the province. And then Sorcerer, reclaim any 1 card from the discard pile to your hand. There's some reaction abilities, the Royal Guard, which we've discussed, the Reaper, which you have, which will negate attack, and these are ones that can be played on other people's turns. So the Royal Guard can be played on somebody else's turn without costing you an action.
But it's only when it's an attack against you, right? Like
Correct.
I couldn't use my Royal Guard to protect you and somebody's attacking you.
Correct.
Yeah, and this is whenever attacked by an opponent's soldier, so it's only
Yeah.
the holder of the card.
And then Monk, revive a fallen soldier at the time of death. And that can be just played at any time. And then there are some dragons, and they're cool, but we'll kind of get to them if we see them. And they have abilities like no ability or reaction cards can be played against you. Your treasury cannot be attacked. Destroy an opponent's entire treasury or destroy an opponent's entire army. So they have some big, nasty dragons in there. So you definitely don't want to see one of those played against you. So that's about it. You're going to be trying to fight through each other's armies and treasuries to steal provinces. Any questions?
So, can you combine gold to put someone out? So, say I've got a 10 and an 8 in here, and I flip the 10 and I put a 4 out, I lose 6, right?
Right.
But say I have the 6 and the 4 in my treasury, and I'm trying to get this 10 out. I can combine those 2.
Correct.
Okay. But I can't go the other way. I can't use this to put out a 5 and a 3 or whatever.
I do not believe so. Let me double check. By discarding its weight in gold from your treasury. Let me see if we have.
Was it an action to put out a soldier?
It is.
And it's also an action to...
But you can only put out a certain...
So the number of soldier gold
Number
cards
of soldier-
represented their power or their gold level. You may combine 2 soldiers and or attach power-ups to increase the power level. If a soldier card is banked, it is designated as gold for the rest of the game. Peasants are soldiers with no attack value or unranked soldiers. No. There was one thing about playing you. So it does say that you do not get change from your treasury, I know.
We'll just play that you can.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I don't
Totally
think that you can.
It wouldn't make sense because then is that 2 actions or
Right.
did you just get 2 out for 1 action?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Kinda
'cause
seems
that's
to
2
hack the
actions.
action
Yeah,
thing.
because you have to do the action, discard the thing, do the action, discard the thing. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So no, you're not
I'm
gonna be
good.
able to do that. All right. Any
Seems
other
pretty
questions?
easy. And it
Alright.
sounded like you read off all the cards, but it sounds like they're all going to say it on there anyway.
Yeah, and a lot. Yeah, I just kind of wanted everybody to know.
The
what
only
kind of
that
things
don't
could
say
happen.
anything are provinces.
Correct, and they're just victory points there.
Good.
They're just there's I think 10 of them. They're unique, and then there are these 2 as well.
Okay.
So, all right. So that's that, and we'll see you in the game.